when they finally get that I am Swedish and that I am walking from Sweden to Palestine, they just can't understand why someone from Sweden would do that. I mean, what do we have to do with Palestinians? But you don't have to be hungry to care about the starving. You don't have to be Palestinian to care about injustice. It's about human rights. It's not about anything else.
We are international human rights observers from the United Kingdom, from England, from Scotland, from Italy, and from the United States of America.
I've been here for about a month and a half now, and this is definitely the most difficult situation that I've ever seen. In the time that I've been here, children have been shot and killed. On the 30th of January, the Israeli military bulldozed the two largest water wells, destroying over half of Rafah's water supply. Every few days, if not every day, houses are demolished here.
Well, I think it's over now. The Palestinians have pulled back without any violence whatsoever, even though the settlers were right in their faces, in our faces, just shouting anti-Semitic. Palestine does not exist. Welcome to Israel. This is Israel.
Well, my friends just said, good luck. That sounds like a crazy thing. You probably won't make it. And my mom told me to get some good shoes. It wasn't really a big reaction, because I was talking about it, sometimes for a whole year before, because I was saving money. So I don't think people really took me seriously. But yeah, as soon as I had the cash, I left. Really? When they see you walking with a big Palestinian flag, most people want to know why. So that creates a space for talking about the illegal occupation, the human rights violations, and everything happening in Palestine, which is the goal with this journey. It's not, the walking part is an excuse to get attention to the Palestinian plight. I don't really like this formula. I think we can do more, and I think we have a responsibility to do more also, especially considering if we have the knowledge about all the human suffering taking place all around the world, in Palestine especially, other places also, of course. If we know about that, how can we just be quiet and sit at home? We need to take action and do something.
The first time I went to Palestine, I didn't know much about it. And when I went to the checkpoint of Eretz to enter Gaza, I met an Argentinian Israeli soldier. And on his arm, he had a Che Guevara tattoo. So I noticed that we started talking. He saw my Argentinian passport. And I said to him, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Well, I'm Jewish and I'm become Israeli and I'm doing the military service." "What are you doing here?" he said to me. "These guys there are crazy, they're gonna kill you." So that's how I entered. And then I realized that actually I had to be more afraid of his army, the Israeli army.
So Rachel was 23 years old, and she's not asking our permission. She's telling us she's going to go, and she's explaining why that's important to her before she went. Of course, I was concerned as a father. I remember calling Rachel the day she was leaving from this house to drive down to the Bay Area and then fly. And I told her, Rachel, you know, you don't have to do this. No one will blame you if you don't go. And she said, I know I don't have to, but I think I can do this, and I know I have to try.
And then she had a group of friends in 2002 who went to Palestine for something called the Freedom Summer. And Rachel had friends who went in the summer of 2002 to join those efforts. And they spent almost all of their time in the West Bank. One of them traveled to Gaza, and he came back and told her that's where the greatest need was. She followed what those friends were writing. She, met with them, heard their report backs once they came back to the United States. So already her interest had been formed, but that then really deepened her desire to go to Palestine and to see firsthand what was happening and to be there working with Palestinians who wanted to resist this long occupation in the ways that they chose, in the nonviolent ways that they chose.
Did you realize there would be a big risk of going there when you joined the protests?
But on this particular occasion, it had died down. There was no stone throwing, there was no shooting. It was quiet. And then me and an Icelandic colleague, we were asked by an elderly Palestinian man if we could accompany him to get his car back that the Israelis had taken as an economic shield. So they had it in front of them. And as I said, there was nothing happening at the moment, so we decided to go with him. And we were approaching the IDF, me and Anna, with our hands in the air. And the Palestinian man, he walked a little bit faster than us, so he reached them, and we held back. And I think you can see very clearly from the shadow that I got my hands in the air, filming, and there's no one around me. Then they shot me.
So from Sweden to Palestine, it's a lot of steps, but in the end it's just one step. And at the end of this journey I will just continue with the next project, next idea that I will have probably to try to make this world just a little bit nicer for everyone to live.
It's really one cause in the end. It's not the Palestinian cause, it's the cause for freedom and justice and a nice place on our planet for everyone without oppression and violence and horror and terror, which unfortunately exists. And living in a way that would be conducive to making the world a little nicer feels like a good way of spending your time. So it's not, I don't feel like, no, of course I would never quit, because it's not about starting or stopping, it's about always doing as much as you can. And it's not project-based either, it's more of a long struggle that you have to be engaged in for as much as you have energy and initiative for. So in order to create empathy, you need to inform people, you need to talk to them, you need to convey the history of Palestine and the misery under occupation. You need to convey the human suffering that's happening every single day. And there are many ways to do this, of reaching people, and I figured the bigger things you do, the more impact you will have.
نلتزم ونتعهد بأن نكون معكم في كل الأحوال وفي كل الظروف وفي كل ميدان.
The leaders of deadly anti-Israeli protests in Gaza 6 days included. There were new demonstrations in the West Bank after yesterday's repeated clashes along the border.
I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I did apply for some jobs as an observer through other organizations, but I didn't get them. And then around Christmas time, I decided I had to go for myself. And then another friend recommended ISM to me, so I contacted them. But I was still a bit scared to book my ticket. But then I saw some friends went to Israel and they were posting pictures and about how great Israel is, and that really made me angry, and then I booked my ticket.
Palestine will be free! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Move, it's dangerous here. Yeah, because of you, you're making it dangerous for us, not them. It's dangerous if you're pointing a fucking gun at us.
Kristen Voss was hit in the abdomen and then an ankle during demonstrations in a West Bank village. She managed to capture one of those incidents on camera and says at the time she was holding her hands in the air.
Well, I got shot twice. The first time I got shot in the abdomen. I was standing next to an Icelandic woman, just the two of us in the middle of the road with our hands up. And the second time, 6 days later, I was shot in the foot. Again, not doing anything, just standing up against the wall. Physically, it's been very painful, especially the foot injury. I couldn't walk for a few days. But also it's been mentally quite hard to think that someone has actually been aiming at me with a gun and then made a decision to shoot me. Also thinking that this happens to Palestinians every day. The day I got shot in the foot, 9 people got shot, including an 8-year-old boy, and a man got shot in the head. So I think this, maybe more the physical injuries, it's been really hard mentally, just to also think that Palestinians had to live through this every day. They thought that someone might just aim at them and shoot them and nothing, there's no repercussions. Or that they might aim at their children and shoot them and nothing happens.
Rachel gave me that book to try to familiarize me and Craig with that place. So she really promoted our education and our understanding, which I'm really grateful for, because we had so much to learn and we're still learning all the time. But the amount of preparation that she did really helped us to be able to respond after she was killed. More quickly certainly more quickly than we could have had she not spent time thinking about us and how to inform all of her family, not just her parents, but her siblings and her extended family as well. So she definitely brought us to this issue.
Came to look at the aftermath of a place where 25 greenhouses had been demolished on the other side of Rafah, destroying the livelihoods of about 300 people, and that had taken place while they rounded up about 150 men, held them under a sniper tower and shot around them to contain the men, the farmers in the area.
I know these soldiers. They are teenagers, that they are empowered with a gun and indoctrinated to treat Palestinians and those who support Palestinians as not human. 2003, after the killing of Rachel, Tom, and James, we were made as journalists to sign a release form when entering Gaza, stating that if we were killed in the border area, we were not to blame the Israeli army. which basically gave the Israeli army a license to kill journalists. And we had to sign it because if you did not sign this letter, then you were not allowed in.
Shooting over the heads of the children, but given that the children were on a sort of a mound, a sort of a 12-foot mound of rubble, it was dangerous for them. A lot of the children ran, but there were 2 or 3 children who remained on the mound of rubble. And Tom, being Tom, automatically, I gather, reached out for one of the children, lifted him off the mound, and then went back for the other 2 children. It was when he turned to go back that I gather he was hit by one of the bullets. And we're just trying to work out from which tower he was probably shot. Tom was first and foremost humanitarian. He wasn't necessarily politically minded, although he was very interested in working out, and developing his interest in politics. That was happening at the same time. But first and foremost, he'd come out here to help. And that was Tom. And I can just imagine him just reaching out to children. He's got a younger brother, Freddie, and he was always very kind and very protective with Freddie. And it would have been so natural for Tom just to reach out for these 2 children and see them to safety. That is absolutely Tom. It's a very poor place. Life looks extremely hard. I don't know how they live hearing gunshots daily. They have got used to it. Have they got used to it? Surely they haven't got used to it. It's become a way of life. That's just unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable way to live life. And I can imagine Tom thinking exactly the same, only more strongly.
Through her, I've come to look at the Palestinian cause as just one of human rights. And so generally, and this is the place we have to protect human rights, that they're universal. And I think that was part of what Rachel was learning, except that when you're dealing with people, when you know the people, when you're living with them, and she was, spending a night when they're shelling around the house or even shooting through some of the walls, and it's a family that's done absolutely nothing wrong, then I'm sure other emotions get in there. I mean, there's anger, there's love for the individuals, there's the sort of theoretical human rights, there's a lot of stuff that gets mixed up in all that. But I think Rachel, it's a very personal dedication to marginalized people, other people, and their rights, and their right to be respected and loved.
And I'm amazed now, having traveled to that region and having experienced myself just the strain of being in a new place and a challenging place in terms of just comfort. And also, she was there when there was a lot of violence, when there was a lot very difficult things going on. So to me, it's really amazing that during that period of time, she produced such clear, important writing.
Some internationals stand with banners, and there's some shooting in the general vicinity of where we are, you know, around us, but they don't shoot at us, and they have not shot any Palestinians while we are present. They're just houses being destroyed every single day, and people going homeless. And a lot of what's happening here, too, is that houses have been shot into and shot into and shot into, and then people abandon their houses and watch sort of from further within the town as their houses are then subsequently destroyed.
Please stop shooting, and I wish that you may learn to love your neighbors and not thank.
The most fearful moment for us was when we got our first phone call from her. She was staying in the house, the same house that she was standing to protect when she was killed. And she was able to call home. The family, I think, insisted that she call her parents. And she said to us, "Can you hear that? Can you hear that?" And we could hear the shelling through the telephone that was happening at night toward houses in this border strip. Not just to one particular house, but there would be shelling. Many houses were destroyed there. And I could hear trembling in her voice. So I knew that she was afraid. You know, some really awful things that were happening too. There were children killed at the time that she was there. There were nurses killed at the time that she was there. She was writing about those things, but we also saw her confidence developing. And I think that, you know, we believed, we trusted that, that this period would come to an end and that she would come back home. On March 16th, 2003, the day that Rachel was killed, the telephone rang at about noon, and it was my son-in-law, Kelly. He and my daughter, Sarah, lived in this house where we are right now. And Kelly asked to speak to Craig, and I could tell from the tone of his voice that something was wrong. And I explained that Craig wasn't in the apartment, and I asked him why, and then he said, "We've had some very sad news." And at that moment, I could hear my daughter, Sarah, just crying hysterically in the background. And she got on the phone, and they said it was about Rachel. And my first reaction, my first question to them was, "Is she dead?"
So we all need to support this, even if we are not from Palestine. I was focusing on the young people like me here in Gaza, how they live, what is their daily life here. But in the same time, he started this cycle of demonstrations, the Great Return March, and I was very interested in to focus more in this.
I am here in Gaza, this time from February. I am Italian. I work for the Palestinian rights, the Palestinian people for many, many years, about 30 years. But one thing very important is to communicate in my country the real situation, because the media mainstream are a very big problem, because they are like the voice from Israel. Then the truth is possible to pass the truth just if something like whiteness is here. Palestinian situation for me is very important for many, many years, because this is a special situation. This is in the world not the alone situation of injustice, but is too different, because is the bigger maybe injustice legalized. This is legalized injustice on the world. Then this is the big problem for us. Also for us, not just for you, because what Israel makes from many years is like a lesson, a bad lesson for the world.
I think the most important is that in all this year now are like 70 years that the Palestinian population are under occupation, and they don't have in this time, in all this time they didn't have any resolution for their life, for their rights, and the mess of the rights, I think, is the most important issue that move maybe on my mind, on my humor, the possibility to speak about and to be close to these people. I think everywhere the life is not easy in any case, but of course Palestine is something different, There are people that ask to be close with the others because they are close, because they are under occupation. And this is maybe the reason that move many people to come in Palestine and to know this population. It is also for me, and it's not the matter that you can close with your life. You continue your life, because inside your life there is also something else that is the life of the others, especially in this situation. Many times I think that I ask to myself how the people can live in this situation. For us as foreigner people, okay, we can stay here 1 year, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, but more or less we are free to go out. So in any case, even if it's that difficult to stay and to live here, we have in our mind the idea that we can go out. I think always again how the Palestinians, how the people that are living under occupation can live and continue to live in this situation, and they don't have the opportunity to go out as I have.
So in Turkey, I went from Istanbul to Ankara to Konya to a little place called Tasucu, and there I had to take the boat to Lebanon before coming to the Palestinian border. I walked right up to the fence, and it was a very strong experience seeing, because I was with the Palestinians at the time, and they were pointing and saying that just a couple of kilometers on the other side of the fence was their village, and which they have been denied entry for these past 70 years. And it must be very difficult for them to be so close, but yet extremely, extremely far. It was very emotional for me also after all this time, almost 11 months on the road. Finally seeing Palestine and being so close, but still I couldn't cross. There is no border crossing. So I had to come to Jordan. Okay. I feel happy and sad. It's wonderful, and and I'm a little bit nervous. I feel sad for the Palestinians. They cannot be where I am. They cannot cross the border as I should be able to if the Israelis allow me. But someone once told me that if you stand with the oppressed, you get treated like the oppressed. So we will see how Israel treats me, if I'm even allowed in, what's going to happen once I'm inside Palestine.
So, of course, they will probably not let me cross the border because they are the ones with the guns. And I would bear witness to human rights violations and I would speak about it. And they don't want the story to come out. I would just like to say that Palestine will not free itself. The world will not save itself. It's up to us. If we don't do anything about it, then we can't really expect results. If we do everything we can, then we will feel that we are an active part of the solution, and the solution will hopefully come a beautiful day also.
Rachel loved flowers.
Our first trip to Gaza was actually in the fall of 2003, so about 6 months after Rachel was killed. Cindy's niece, our niece, and Cindy's sisters sort of arranged it, helped us arrange it, and because we wanted to see the people that Rachel wrote about. We wanted to go and see who she was with and talk to the family that was behind the wall that Rachel stood in front of.
Hit the wall with a bulldozer or a backhoe.
Afternoon there was spent a wonderful meal with the family that was behind the wall that Rachel stood in front of, so the Nasrallah family. And we have a picture of Cindy and niece sitting out in their garden with them. Their house still survived then. It was destroyed later that fall in an Israeli invasion. But we got to meet them for the first time, and like I say, have this amazing meal and get this photograph that was much like one that was taken with Rachel before. And of course, then more difficult was to listen to them because they were watching through a crack in their wall the bulldozer approach.
Now, is that bulldozer like the one that drove over Rachel?
Saw, and I'm seeing the kind of bulldozer that killed Rachel. It's very shattering.
That one of the things that Americans don't know, we think that when we're not hearing about it or when an attack ceases officially, that it's peaceful there. First of all, there's nothing peaceful about an occupation. But second of all, in the Gaza Strip, I think we've heard shelling or somebody being killed by the Israelis every time we've been there. I can't remember one when we did not. And only once was it officially recognized as an attack on Gaza, that last day of that last time. So they live under incredible stress. Very intentional about trying to teach their children to hold on to their humanity. And so the adults there, it's amazing things that they do with their kids to try to keep them human. And I'm amazed and in awe of the Palestinian people and their resistance with grace.
I was just denied entry into Palestine after walking for 11 months straight. They interrogated me for about 5 or 6 hours, accusing me of a bunch of things. And finally they decided to not let me in. It feels... Yeah, finally...
You're back from... They decided.
And they decided to not let me enter. and it feels really strange. Like, it's sad because I'm thinking of the Palestinians that all get this message that they cannot enter for whatever. By the very fact that they are Palestinians, that Israel is denying them entry, I guess. I cannot feel what they are feeling, but I feel something. Like, I really want to visit the place also, you know, and I can't. And it's not because they were accusing me of two things. First, of lying. I didn't lie. They were just asking a bunch of questions and I answered them. I never lied, but whatever. They thought I lied. And two, they accused me of, this is pretty funny, of arranging a demonstration in Nabi Saleh. They asked me like, do you want to go to Nabi Saleh? I said, yeah, for sure. And they said, what you gonna do there? I'm gonna meet the people. What you gonna do with the people? They're so scared. So they're scared that I was gonna make a demonstration and they thought I was lying. That's the reason they didn't let me in. But the journey continues. The activism is not over. This was one project, and this is the best diploma you can get from activism. It means that you did something. It means that they fear you. So I'm really proud to have this paper because it means I actually did something.
People are economically devastated because of the closure of the borders into Egypt and the extreme control of the Gaza economy by Israel. I thought I came to look at the aftermath of the 25 years.
I'm here for other children. I'm here because I care. I'm here because children everywhere are suffering and because 40,000 people die each day from hunger. I'm here because those people are mostly children. We have got to understand that the poor are all around us and we're ignoring them. We have got to understand that these deaths are preventable. We have got to understand that people in third world countries think and care and smile and cry just like us. We have got to understand that they are us. We are them. My dream is to stop hunger by the year 2000. My dream is to give the poor a chance. My dream is to save the 40,000 people who die each day. My dream can and will come true if we all look into the future and see the light that shines there.